So guys, welcome back to the Expert Whisperer podcast. This is Alexander as always, and today I am able to meet a great friend, Steven from the US. Hi Steven.
Hey, good to see you, Alex.
Likewise. Steven,
Yeah.
please tell us why Panama, I mean besides the view that is already saying a lot.
Yeah, let's take us back to 2021, right? This
Yeah.
is a time in which the world was going through an upheaval with the pandemic.
Yeah.
My job moved to being an online job, and I had a lot of downtime to really contemplate what am I going to do with my future. I was 58 years old, and I was thinking, I think I want to work less and live more, and that was kind of my mentality. So I started working less, and then during that time, I had a few too many margaritas one night, and I went online, and I'm like, I am going to move to another country. Where am I going to move?
Yeah.
And I started to search around the world and try to think about where I might want to live and retire at age 60. That was my goal. I'm going to stop working at age 60, and I'm going to prioritize time in my life rather than prioritizing work. So I started this extensive search.
Got you. And where are you from? Can you tell us that?
I grew up mostly in Massachusetts and Maine, but I lived for 10 years in Texas and 10 years in Atlanta, Georgia. And I moved here from Atlanta, Georgia.
Got you.
Yeah. And during that time that I was trying to consider where I was going to move, I had the world open to me. So I was exploring a lot of spaces. My mom had just passed away, and that was, you know, I hate to say it like this, but it was liberating in some ways because
Yeah,
I was
sorry to hear that, but I understand that.
Yeah, I was caring for her a lot while she was sick, and
Yeah.
then I finally felt like, okay, I think I can now move. Let's figure out where. And I was thinking about Portugal, and I was thinking about Costa Rica, and I was thinking about Colombia, and I was thinking about Ecuador, and not really thinking too much about Panama. And then all of a sudden I'm surfing around on the web one night, and this building design hadn't been fully built yet, popped up. And I sent a quick little message. Tell me a little bit more about this place. I'm really interested. And then I had a video call with the developer and one of the persons that was selling units here. And 2 months after that, I put a deposit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then it went quick.
It went very quickly. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I do my homework. I'm a diligent investor, and I'm a very I'm academically minded person. And I have a lot of experience in, I have some experience in finances and some experience in statistics and mathematics. And I started thinking about it mathematically. Okay, can I afford to live there and retire at age 60? Number one. What would life be like there? Is it going to mesh with the way I like to live my life? And this building, Casco View, hit both of those 100%.
Sweet.
You know, the financial investment was quite low to move here, and that was a good selling point for me. And the lifestyle in this building and in the neighborhood is exactly what I was looking for when thinking about moving to another country.
Cool.
Yeah.
And could you explain the guys here, because to understand what do you mean exactly, what is the lifestyle here, or what made the difference for you personally that this stands out from other lifestyles you could have in the US, for example, or Portugal or Costa Rica maybe?
Yeah, I think first I'll start super local, the building, and then I'll go to the neighborhood, and then I'll talk about the country.
All right.
So the building to me, it has a communal feeling. Like it wants to create a society of people that are contributing to the well-being of this space. So they have events here. I'm even helping with some of the events. There's also a commitment to green energy, which is really important to me. There's a strong recycling movement. There's a focus on health and wellness here. And all of that popped out. You know, it stood above and beyond all the other places I was looking at in the world and in Panama City. So that helped a lot. And then when I started thinking about a neighborhood, you see, I'm from the northeast of the United States. I'm used to living in Boston and New York and DC. I'm used to living in cities where the street life is very vibrant. And Midtown Atlanta, the same sort of way. So I was like, where can I live where I can walk? Where can I live where there are people outside enjoying themselves? Where can I participate in the economy and just enjoy things and say hi to my neighbors? And this neighborhood is exactly that. You know, it's fascinating. Like I'll walk down the street in the morning and say hi to the barber, say hi to the dry cleaner, say hi to the folks when I get food from the fruit stands, and it feels like I'm living in like 1980s Brooklyn.
Nice.
But yet it's in Panama in 2024. And
nice.
It's really beautiful, and my Spanish is getting way better. I came with some foundational Spanish, but because pretty much everybody out in my neighborhood, aside from a few people, Spanish is not only their preferred language, but their only language they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So in 6 months, my Spanish went from, I would say, a 2nd grade level to like a 6th grade level.
Nice.
And I picked up 3 more verb tenses, so I think in 1 year from now, I will consider myself fluent. Like now I'm conversational. So this neighborhood definitely pushed me in that direction. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, you probably wouldn't have had that in Coronado or let's say Paitilla.
Yeah, I think, you know, that I understand there's different reasons why people select different neighborhoods, and my personality and I'm very socially gregarious. Like I like to be around people.
Yeah.
And I like to participate in community, and I like to play with the kids in the streets, and you know, I like to talk to the people when I'm at the stores. So because I'm socially gregarious, learning Spanish became really important, because I can't be socially gregarious and have a disability, right?
Yeah, it is what it is, yeah.
And I could communicate in Spanish to live, but now my Spanish is to the point in which I can thrive here.
That's definitely a big point. I wouldn't have even moved myself if I wouldn't have had some Spanish at least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can live here, but you know, like you would have need to search only expat groups where there is spoken English. And I mean, there are tons of it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, my future wife is from Panama too. So I mean, we're getting married next month, and of course, if I wouldn't speak Spanish, we wouldn't have been able to communicate that well.
So like that kind of helped, and then all of a sudden, you know, then I came to Panama after buying a place. I had never been to Panama. You know, I'd been to Colombia many times. I've been to Central America and South America. I've been almost everywhere but Panama, but I chose to buy a place in Panama.
Interesting.
And then came to visit a couple times while it was being built, and met the developer and met the salespeople, and stayed in the city, you know, for a couple weeks each time I came. And I was like, okay, I think I did the right thing, which was good, because who wants to buy a place and not like the city?
Yeah,
but I knew I would like it because of the homework I had done and my experience of being in cities around Central and South America. You know, and I'm an economist by heart and a statistician, so I studied the economy of this country. I studied the political stability, and you know, having economic stability and political stability in this part of the world is not just rare, but worth paying attention to, and it's worth being part of it. So I chose to be part of what I consider the future capital of Latin America. I think Panama City is going to become the cosmopolitan capital of all of Latin America very soon.
I think so too, in good and maybe ways that some others don't like so much, as always, right? I mean, with growth comes the good and the not so good. But in general, Panama, I would say, in my opinion, is just going into a very good way with the new metro built over the bridge, or under the canal, even better said, I mean, there are lots of cool stuff coming up. Where do you have that, you know?
And it's easy to be welcomed here, even as a foreigner, to be welcomed here to participate in Panamanian life.
That's true.
Like there's, you know, I have a good balance, and it's partly because of my wanting to be social, and part of because my learning more and more Spanish, that I have a good balance of hanging out in expat spaces and in Panamanian spaces. And that balance is really working for me. Like I joined a group of guys that play paddle. And that's a new sport for me. I picked it up in July. I'm getting good. I'm feeling really good about how I'm getting. I'm starting tournaments already.
Nice.
I play with these guys at the public court, like almost every couple, 2 or 3 times a week. And they're like my age, a little younger, and we're becoming a community. We get to. They ask how I'm doing. They ask how my partner's doing. They want to know how my residency process is going. They're really involved in how I'm doing. I went to the States for a month, and I came back and played, and they're like, "We missed you. Where were you?" And I'm like, "Oh, estuve en los Estados Unidos por un mes. Okay, I'm back." And it's like, "Okay, cool." And that is something that I really look forward to, and it's something that I get to be part of Panama, part of a club
Have you knew that Panama is one of the best longevities and lifespans, actually?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, interestingly, I think a lot of our viewers probably know
Yeah.
that in the United States, life expectancy is sort of stagnated, and
Yeah.
there are many spaces in the world where people live longer. And I mean, I've only been here 6 months.
Only 6 months. Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm healthier.
Yeah.
Like my stress has gone way down, and that's probably.
I mean, we met up 3 or 4 months ago, and I feel you're more relaxed and probably, I don't know, like it's just something I feel about,
Yeah.
It's like you're more in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, don't get me wrong, I work here probably harder than I even had in Germany, but it's still a nice mix between I can do that here without getting health issues, for example, because I have sun all year, I have no bad weather at all.
Yeah, the weather is dreamy. I mean, it's dreamy here.
Even the rainy days, I mean, I don't, we need them here with the canal and so on.
Yeah, and another thing I'm eating more fruits and vegetables here, which is really nice. Like, I just go down the street and there's fruit and vegetable stands all around the block.
The quality is top notch, right? Isn't it?
And it gets brought in from the farms every morning, so I eat food that was probably harvested yesterday.
Yeah.
And I get a bag of groceries like this big for like $8, and it lasts me the whole week.
Yeah, that's epic. I mean, you don't get that everywhere, No. And you have certain areas in San Francisco where you have a little market too, vegetables and fruits and stuff. But like you need to search around good, and you have a very good neighborhood there that you have everything like grabbing close to you, so to say. Yeah.
I guess in this neighborhood, around Casco View, it's like it's hard to spend too much money because everything is so cheap. Like the restaurants, all the fondas, it's $4 for a lunch that's like this big. All the fruit stands and vegetable stands, the goods are half the price of machitazo even, which is half the price of a store in San Francisco. So when it gets down to like that goal of like how can I have an economy here with a rather small retirement fund, right?
Yeah.
Those things contributed to it. So
cool. And
I'm able to work. I'm able to not re-engage with work, and that's a good plus.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you came here for many reasons. But what would you say? What others are there between probably like your home country, US, to Panama that made it really like your place to go or to stay, better said?
I mean, one was, of course, that economic decision to work less. It would have been more difficult to retire at age 60 in the United States with the way I had built up my finances. It would have been impossible. I would have had to work till at least another 5 years.
Gotcha.
So that's, 60 to 65. Those are 5 years that I wanted to claim for me. After 40 years of work, this is my decade. I didn't want to delay this another decade. So
that makes sense because you never know, like you never know.
Exactly.
Yeah, you never know.
And the pandemic kind of reminded me that, life is worth grabbing onto if you can. And coming to Panama was grabbing onto like my spirit, my vibrancy, life, and
Sweet.
What would it be like?
Cool.
And, that was part of it. And then, the passing of my mom, and then wanting to I've always traveled. I've traveled around the world a lot, so I've been to other countries. So I always had it in my mind that I would live in another country. It just took me a while. And to do it at this age is quite nice. I mean, I went back to the United States for 30 days in August and September, and I was so ready to come back, and I'd only been here 4 months. It was like the stress of people. Everyone has a tight schedule, and I'm like, my family, it was like, oh yeah, I can see you on Thursday. I'm like, what? What is this thing? I'm in Panama. I'm like, my friends are like, oh yeah, let's go hang out, and I'll see you in a few hours. Okay. The way I'm engaging with people here is, oh yeah, we'll see each other and hang out, or, oh yeah, I'll run into you, and then we'll just automatically start hanging out. It's a very beautiful way to live, where people seem to prioritize relationships social spaces
Yeah.
with a little more flexibility and care than what I was used to in the United States.
That's
And that feels nice. It feels very loving, you know.
sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I was riding my bike in the rain, trying to come out of the gym to go to my yoga class, and the yoga
Yeah.
teacher comes by in a car, and she sees me waiting under this thing, and she goes, "Leave your bike here, and I can give you a ride to yoga class." And I'm like, "No, I'll just ride my bike. It's only 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers away." But it was just really nice to have somebody ask me that, and
I can imagine.
that just felt good. Not that that doesn't happen in the United States.
Yeah.
But here it seems to happen automatically, especially with the Panamanians.
More
You know,
frequently, yeah.
Yeah, the Panamanian people are just a very heartfelt people, and they want to help you, and
Yeah.
you feel it every day.
And you are very accepted here. I don't say in other countries it's not like that, but I lived in Costa Rica, and don't get me wrong, I don't feel as part of the society there than here. I mean, I have made lots of friends there too.
Yeah.
But here it's like they are really welcoming
Yeah,
when you are a foreigner.
Yeah.
And they are not as much as that anymore in Costa Rica, because partly understand they are got dragged out from the beach zones, in many beach zones in Costa
Yeah.
Rica for many foreigners. But still in Panama you don't have that issues. It's just a nice mix of so many different cultures, Venezuelans, Colombians, I mean, guys from the US, Panamanians, of course, now Europeans a lot.
Yeah, a lot of Canadians are here.
Canadians, even South Africans by now a lot too.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see, you know, I didn't think about that. I mean, I looked at the demographics of this city and of the country, and I knew that there were smaller populations of people from India and a Jewish community and a Muslim community and a black community, and I knew all of this happening, but when you live here, you actually feel the way they all sort of move together and intermix and separate and intermix. It's
you don't have racism here, really.
If it is, it's a different kind that's not familiar to me. I know the racism in the United States is raw. I mean, it's
more hidden. It's more when it is, then it's more, I would say, jealousy because somebody is doing better, but not necessarily because of their color, skin color, or any other of these things. I mean, you have here literally sometimes living like working class next to like millionaires sometimes, and they still say hi to each other. It's not the standard, of course, but it still is happening. And where do you have that?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I can't pretend to understand the complexities of race here, but there are. It's different. It's definitely different, and the unhealthy parts of racism that you get to be witness to in the United States, that type of unhealthy isn't as obvious here.
Yeah, so, I don't think you even have it because, being honest, like Panama always was lots of black people and lots of some white people too, because of the mix with Colombians, Venezuelans, and of course Panamanian origins are quite a wide mix. So it was always here just like, I don't know, 50-60, 60% black, 40%, 40%, maybe 50-50. I'm not sure, but it's very equal. And you don't, I think that's one of the reasons, because, for example, other countries like Costa Rica, you don't have so many black people. And if you are like, for example, I'm from Germany, and if you're, even say in Germany, like black, you need to take care about how you say it, because it can be you can sound like a racist, and it's ridiculous. If we live here, you say like, me to my girlfriend, negrita, ¿cómo estás? And it's like a nice, loving way to speak to your partner.
There's a lot of things that I'm still learning too. It's very unique. It's very different. Because like one of the things, I mean, one of the pieces of my story I left out was during 2021 when I bought this place and then finally came to visit it, and then was getting ready to move in the last year, because they really just opened up this building for residents in 2024, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to move in 2024, and bang, out of nowhere, I met somebody. I was single for 10 years.
Wow.
And for 10 years, designing my life. I'm going to move to Panama. I'm turning 60. Maybe I'll fall in love down there. We'll see. But
Yeah.
my mindset was as a single person.
Yeah.
And then 6 months before I moved, I met somebody, and we fell so hard for each other. And I said to him, I kept a secret for like the first 2 months we were dating, because I didn't want to scare him away, because our relationship wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
And finally, I called him up on the phone and said, I have a secret I'm keeping from you. And he's like, tell me. And I'm like, I'm moving to Panama in 6 months, and it's definite, and I'm definitely going, and I just want to let you know that.
Yeah. And how was this?
He was quiet for like a minute, and I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then all he said was, you never know. And I hung up the phone, called my sister, and I said, I think he's going to move to Panama with me. And she goes, what do you mean? I go, he said you never know. I didn't ask him. He didn't ask me, but that's enough. And a month later, we came to Panama together.
Yeah.
And he liked it. He loved it. And the last day he was here, we went hung out on a rooftop, and I proposed to him, and now we're engaged to be married.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Congrats. Hey,
yeah.
nice, Steven.
And that's an interesting thing, too, because he's black, I'm white.
Yeah.
I'm 15 years older.
Yeah.
I'm retired, he's working.
Yeah.
We're gay, and we live in this neighborhood, and everybody respects us.
Yeah.
We have had no negative experiences.
That's very good, and I think it's important to many couples out there.
Yeah.
You know, mixed racial couples. You know, since my girlfriend is black too. You know, like I wouldn't feel comfortable in Germany. I tell you, like old friends of mine were saying like weird comments when I was like just like one. I wouldn't even consider him friend anymore because of that issue. But you don't have these issues here, you know, like nobody cares if you're black, if you're white, if you're a yellow or whatever, you know. And I think for me that is very important, because if I want to have children with her, and I don't want them to grow up in society where you need to
explain everything.
Explain everything, where you encounter racism, and right now Germany, because of, in my opinion, I don't want to get into it too much, but bad politics. Political decisions is on the wrong track, and that's why so many are coming to Panama. But I think it's very important to the audience here that they know that they can encounter what they are searching for, without like somebody feeling like an outsider, because you are having a big community and people are focused either on social and connections and relationships, I would say. And as well on making business. I mean, Panama, with the buildings, with a very modern banking system, with the second biggest free zone on the world. You have the canal, of course. I mean, lots of money coming in and lots of business opportunities too. And it's quite easy. It's not, well, let's put it that way. It's simple, it's not easy to take a piece of the cake, but you can definitely, I would say, not find something like that so easy in almost every other part of the world.
And it's fascinating to, like my partner is generating an economy by doing some work, and I'm starting to do a few little hobby things to generate some income for me, just to make life a little more abundant here, and it's fun. It's like it's accessible. There are people, there's avenues here for entrepreneurship. I think if you have an idea, your idea can actually get actualized in Panama right now in 2024. 100%. And I don't know if it was like that 10 years ago here. But I think right now, if you're thinking about trying to start an economy somewhere in the world and you're wondering where to go, I would suggest, just from what I've learned in 6 months, this is really a very, very open and vibrant space to do that.
Indeed.
It's very open, and it's very receptive, and people work with you, and people help you, and and the financial situation here is quite stable, as we know, and it's going to stay that way. The political situation is also very stable, and every indication the both of these centrist spaces are going to stay centered.
Yeah, we are a very neutral country here too. I think that's
Yeah.
important.
And the public goods here, even though it's I would call it a centrist country as far as capitalism, the public goods here are something that you would in the United States call socialism, right? So, you know, like my public health plan, I got a private hospital health plan here for $150 a month. That in the United States was $1,100 a month. $1,100 a month.
That's
that
crazy.
was $12,000 a year.
Wow.
I was paying for health insurance. I don't need it, which is I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if I keep eating fruits and vegetables and riding my bike in the sun every day, I'm never going to need it. But it's there, and it's 1/8 the cost of what 1/7 the cost of what I would pay in the United States, which is amazing. And the plan is better, which is even more amazing. There isn't a deductible of $2,000 before I can start getting treatment. So it's like, wow, And I'm not even a full-time resident yet. I'm going to be getting my pensionado in a year, but that's even not being a permanent resident. And that's an amazing public good. You go down the bike path down the Cinta Costera, and there's like free gymnasiums and free tennis courts and free paddle courts, and there's a free swimming pool across the street. It's a lap pool. We have 2 pools here, but you can't swim laps in them. They're too small. But there's a lap pool right down there across the street that I can go to every day and swim laps for free.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, there's a local soccer stadium right there. I go there sometimes with my laptop and sit in the stands and watch people play soccer, and it's totally free.
Sweet. That's
so
great.
You can entertain yourself here and be physically active in this neighborhood so easily.
This is important because like people don't know that. Sorry if I interrupt you.
Oh yeah.
Like I hear that even football, playing soccer, is quite expensive in the US. Not in Germany, not here.
Yeah, no, I haven't been to a big soccer game. I don't know if they have them over there, when they're going to start, when the football season is.
Yeah.
But that's one of the stadiums, and I think it costs $2.
Yeah, around that. I mean, sometimes
the United States it costs $80.
Yeah. Germany the same, 80, 100, 150, sometimes even $200, $300, depends the game.
Yeah.
That's quite expensive, yeah?
Yeah. I think living in this neighborhood in particular, one of the other attractive features for me is in the United States, I let go of my car years ago. So I've been living car free.
Okay.
And here in this neighborhood, it's super easy to live car free. Probably in all of Panama City, but here it's even easier, especially if you like to move your body, because the bike path is right there.
Yeah.
It's 2 blocks away. I can ride my bicycle all the way to Flamenco Island, hop on a boat, go to Toboga, hang out at the beach for the day, get the boat back, ride my bike back.
That's great, eh?
For a $20 round trip boat ticket. I can spend a day at the beach and exercise my body.
That's amazing, yeah.
And I jump on and go the other way to the gym at Punta Patilla, and it's all on the bike path. So I can ride my bike for 3 or 4 miles, do an hour workout, and ride my bike back.
That's how you stay in shape, huh?
Don't have to worry about parking. Don't have to worry about paying for a car. So if you're thinking about coming to Panama and remaining or choosing to be car free, a neighborhood like this might make more sense.
Yeah, 100%. And even like here, one of the little, if you want, like a car, let's say, you have here parkings, right? I hear. Yeah. This is something, because for example, I want to get a car this year after 5 years without no car, because I miss for personally going to the beaches. I mean, you can still do it. We can still drive with the bus. Yeah. But of course, it takes more time.
It takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Like we're going to Anton, El Valle de Anton this weekend to go hiking in the mountains. Yeah. And we take the in-drive which is their version of Uber here. Yeah. Take an in-drive over to Albrook Mall, $3.
That's a good idea.
Then we jump on the bus, and it's $4.25.
That's amazing. And El Valle, I mean, El Valle is not so far. If you want to drive to Veraguas, it's quite far. It's 5-6 hour car ride. Not bus ride, car ride.
But El Valle with no traffic is an hour and a half.
It's an hour and a half, literally, with the bus.
Buses too.
With the buses too, exactly. But even in a half hour more, for that little money, you can work, you can talk, you can do lots of good stuff.
And people in Panama, we have like a house swapping thing going on because we have a dog. So we house swap with somebody in Anton that has a dog.
Ah, cool.
and they need to come to the city to do business. So we go and stay at their house in downtown Anton, and they stay at our house here. So the whole trip costs us $4.25 on the bus and $3 Uber ride.
Oh, that's amazing, huh?
And so
That's
in Panama,
unbeatable.
so like in Panama, the way I was talking about figuring out an economy here and being entrepreneurial, there's also the entrepreneurship of being social and being sort of the soft economy, which is more like bartering and enjoying the gifts that each other give each other, you know, which I think is easier to do here.
I think so too. And like, for example, people here are, as you said, already very full of like, they have a big heart. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Like I can imagine, or I can remember what I said, that I went to Coronado. We stayed there in a house just because they were friends. They didn't want any money. Of course, we gave them some, but pretty much it was completely free.
Right.
Yeah, you know, they were like, just stay at my vacation house at the beach, you know. In Coronado, same in El Valle de Anton. I had the same experience with my ex-girlfriend back then and her family. We stayed there, I don't know how many times, 5, 6, 7 times. Right. I mean, they're family, but not everyone lets you stay, I don't know how many days of the year in their house. Yeah?
Right. So that's pretty cool to have something like that too. And yeah, so those kind of trips are pretty easy. We want to explore more of Panama, and we'll get a chance to do that. We're going to go jump on a plane next month to go to Bogota, Colombia. Right. It's only an hour and 15 minutes by plane.
That's
true. And one of
yeah.
the beautiful things about Panama is like there are so many flights to everywhere from Tocumen, from the airport, and the airport's growing so fast. And I think the transportation went up 20% this year from last year. Yeah, it's way more than it was in 2019. And the airport's growing, a new terminal, new runways being built, and new airlines are coming. They're now going to recruit low-cost airlines from Europe, and that's going to change. It's going to change the game here. Yeah, you know, across the bridge there's a little airport, and you can fly on Wingo to Colombia for $60 each way.
Yeah, exactly.
You can fly to David and go to Boquete for $35.
Yeah, from Frontera, close to Costa Rica. You need to imagine. I mean, car-wise, it's quite a trip, huh? Yeah. But flying, it's what, 2 hours, maybe one and a half.
And we saved up, and we're taking a dream trip over Christmas and New Year's.
Nice.
We're going to go to Portobello or Puerto Lindo, and we're going to jump on a sailboat, and we're going to sail to Cartagena.
Sweet. That's a great
with
plan.
Like eight people. We're going to be 2 of 8 people, and it's pretty cheap, and you become sort of part of the crew, and you swim and eat fish and stop off at islands, and you go snorkeling, and you drink rum, and you hang out. And we're going to do that for 5 days.
Wow.
So
that's nice.
That's a trip of a lifetime. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think so. Sounds pretty nice. A friend of mine, I think, actually took that trip, but from Colombia. I don't know if it's the same.
Yeah, it goes in both directions. Nice. Yeah. It's popular with a lot of the backpacking crowd because, you know, there's no road that goes through Colombia to Panama. It's the only place from Alaska to Tierra del Fuego where there's a break, right? Yeah. So people do boat or fly, but this boat ride is considered like one of the most beautiful things because it stops in the San Blas Islands for a couple days, and it's open ocean for a couple days.
You need to have you been to San Blas?
No, this will be my first time.
Nice. Yeah. And it's nice. I love it. But it's way better than on a cruise or on a yacht or on any boat than actually. Don't get me wrong, probably you have good opportunities too, but San Blas is, in my opinion, way more attractive if you stay there on a boat because many places where you could stay are the same 5 years ago than they are now. Yeah. They're very, 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 very basic for, in my opinion, like traveling in Europe is quite expensive, in my opinion, San Blas. If you stay there over one night. And that's why I personally, if I go there again after twice, I liked it, and really, it's beautiful. It's in heaven on earth, but it's not a 5-star resort. So even if you pay 250 almost per person, in some options, or 180 to 250 per person, don't expect it to be a resort. Otherwise, you get disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these are the things that you need to know first off.
Yeah.
To see, do I want it like that, or do I
Yeah.
prefer a boat trip? You know.
Yeah. I think a lot of negotiating Panama as a new resident too is like, how much am I going to figure out on my own, and how much am I going to seek help, right?
Yeah.
So there are tour groups that will take you places, or you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
I could have bought this place with all the lights and all the furniture prepackaged.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, let me figure out how to do it on my own.
Yeah.
So I took the approach of, not just for economic reasons, but also because I want to be in charge of my own destiny.
Yes.
Like, I want to be able to figure things out. I want to be able
great.
to negotiate living here on my own. So me and Herb, we took a more extreme approach and did everything ourselves. You know, pretty much.
But it's good. I mean, then you feel more at home, I guess, too. You know, I mean, I renovated the house that I lived before in Germany with my brother too, completely. We two together. And it was fun. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. I mean, it was a big house for my grandparents back then. But it's fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think the things I relied on, like when I first got in contact with the representatives of this building and a developer, I put my faith in their hands. I did my homework and researched all of their projects they've ever done before, and their financial statements. I did my homework.
Good stuff.
And because they had such a strong connection to international projects and U.S. based, I didn't feel like I had to go through additional processes to make sure that everything was okay. And they took really good care of it and made sure every step of the way that things were valid.
Where they're from, by the way?
The developer is
Canadian, huh?
no, U.S. based. And there's a couple different. I'm not exactly clear on all the affiliates, but I know the developer is from Seattle and did a lot of projects in that area. So it's kind of nice to have that faith. So they did a lot of the work that I would have done to help make sure that certain financial things were in place. So I did in a way hire out for that service, and that was very helpful. Right now, Herb is getting his residency, and we could figure out how to negotiate the whole filing the documents ourselves, but going to a lawyer made sense for us. So there's a few things that are outside my skill set that I can't learn on my own or would be too difficult, that I rely on some help for that. And some financial things and legal residency are two of the things. So I think that's important for me just to have that kind of comfort, knowing that somebody else is looking over these things with me.
It makes sense.
But all the other things like negotiating how to get around the country and take tours, all that I do on my own.
I mean, I bought my first ever apartment here in Panama too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. And it was maybe a bit scary, but I was like checking out so many apartments, and then during COVID actually I bought one for $78,000. $78,000. 10 minutes walking distance to Bergamay.
Wow. Wow.
You know, I mean, this one you get hardly. Don't expect that to get so easy, but it's doable. It is doable.
Yeah. I think overall, you know, for what it's worth, I went with a lot of intuition and a lot of faith in coming to Panama. With, you know, I haven't done a degree of homework, but I made the right choice.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for your time. I think you dropped some really like golden nuggets here from many experts, and thanks for having you.